and gentlemen, why do you think James Orengo is suddenly rushing to succeed Raila Amolo Odinga as the next Luo Kingpin? Because clearly, James Orengo is a man on a mission. If you've been studying James Orengo of late, you should have noted a few things. Number one, James Orengo declared himself the ODM party leader. According to ODM constitution, the party leader is the automatic presidential candidate. So why do you think he finally decided that, okay, Oburu has failed and I'm now the party leader?
Kwa hivyo mimi naomba hapa Nakuru, Harambe! Harambe! Na mjue Secretary General, katibu mkuu ya ODM ni nani? SGS ni nani? Na kwa sababu Oburu hawezi jana Kisumu, kwa sababu Oburu hawezi, sasa Orengo is the acting party leader of ODM. Asante.
The other thing which Orengo has done is that he met with Raphael Tuju. Raphael Tuju played a very key role for Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in the last general election. We all know that Tuju is a former Secretary General of Jubilee Party. He is a former Cabinet Secretary and one of the most loved leaders from the Luo Nation. He met Raphael Tuju after the Dari incidents. Why do you think he did that? Apart from Tuju, James Orengo also held a meeting with Professor Peter Anyang'-Nyong'o. Of course, very significant politically speaking, because Nyong'o, Orengo, and Raila were part of the Young Turks during the Jaramogi time. Probably that can explain why he looked for Nyong'o. But James Orengo shocked the entire country recently when he unveiled Willis Raburu as the MC for the Linda Wananchi group. And of course, James Orengo has been trying to consolidate his support across the country. He's been going from one media house to the next media house, especially the Luo Nation media houses. Which means James Orengo is a man on a mission. But the question is, why do you think he's now keen on succeeding Raila Amolo Odinga? This is exactly what I want us to analyze in this video. Before we do that, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, who are likely to succeed Raila Amolo Odinga as the next Luo Kingpin? Who? Just give me two names. There's Babu Owino, who has made that declaration public that he wants to be the next Luo Kingpin. And Babu Owino, in my view, if it were not for the Linda Wananchi, would be charting his own political path. Of course, with the emergence of Linda Wananchi, in my view, Babu Owino is currently being taken to the third place. It's below Edwin Sifuna and below James Orengo, but he wants to become the next Luo Kingpin. Then there is John Mbadi, who is now running a campaign, Nyang Reswa, which just means, Nyang is his nickname here, save us. Yeah, so Mbadi is in the picture, and of course Gladys Wanga has positioned herself as the ODM chairperson, and of course you can't talk about succeeding Raila Odinga without Gladys Wanga. At some point the name of Winnie Odinga was also emerging, but I think with the emergence of Oburu, Winnie can now not rise, but Oburu, I doubt if he can really be the successor to Raila Amolo Odinga. It's just the ODM party leader. But the question is, why is Orengo suddenly rushing to become the Luo Kingpin and to become the ODM party leader? Why is he rushing? Because previously, Orengo was just there. He was not concerned. Why suddenly? Number one, I think Orengo wants to become the next Luo Kingpin. Why the Luo Kingpin? If you look at the ODM structure, ODM has always overlooked James Orengo. But if you look at experience, James Orengo is probably the most experienced political leader in ODM party. When was James Orengo first elected as a member of parliament? If you were to go through that list, you realize that he was elected in the 80s. Orengo's life has always been in politics and in parliament. So naturally, it was expected that with the death of Raila Odinga, Orengo was going to be one of the people to be considered. He was never considered. But why is he always overlooked? Because even when Raila Odinga was alive, when he was going for the AU seat, Raila Odinga opted to appoint Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o as the acting party leader. I remember when Mbadi was appointed to the cabinet and the position of the chairperson fell vacant, it was also expected that Orengo was going to take over the chairmanship of the party. At some point, I remember Orengo even brought all the 47 ODM county leaders to endorse him in Nairobi because everything was set for him. Last minute, he was shortchanged. So I think Orengo has never been very happy about those developments. And he has realized that if I were to just wait and sit, I will not get anything. So I must go for it. So I think Orengo has now realized that for him to succeed, he must decide to go for these seats. That's number one. Number two, I'm talking of 2027 politics. What is James Orengo's game plan for 2027? James Orengo is the current governor for Siaya. You would expect Orengo to focus more on Siaya and his re-election. But Orengo is very busy. He's moving from one county to another to another. Why is he doing that? 2027 politics. Orengo is not sure about winning his Siaya gubernatorial seat in 2027. And because he's not sure, Orengo is not focusing on two seats. Either Orengo is planning to run for the presidency in 2027. And if you were to run for the presidency, let's say under ODM, if not ODM party, let's say the Linda Wananchi will front him, even if he doesn't become the president, he will become another Raila Odinga. He will have a party. I'm sure Orengo will have MCS, he will have governors, he will have MPs, and then he will be able to control politics from the comfort of his office. So that is his first game plan, to run for the presidency, either to win or even, if not, just for that particular strategy. And importantly, I think Orengo is also trying to position himself as a running mate to either Kalonzo, I think only Kalonzo, because according to my sources, Uhuru is fronting Kalonzo Musyoka for the presidency. And since Uhuru Kenyatta is fronting Kalonzo for the presidency, it is expected that the Mountain are likely to support Kalonzo. So the question of Sifuna is always there. That now Sifuna will be the Speaker of the Senate. They will support him to win his Senate seat, then become the Speaker of the Senate. Or if not, becomes the majority leader in the Senate. Then he can now play his politics moving that way. Alternative is Sifuna to become Kalonzo's running mate. But Orengo believes that he can actually be the running mate to Kalonzo Musyoka. Because at the level where he is in Linda Wananchi, Orengo is now the leader there. You can talk of Sifuna, but I think Sifuna would not have a problem allowing Orengo to be the leader based on the experience. Remember, Orengo role in Linda Wananchi has actually also reduced the Babu Owino effect. Babu Owino is now like third in command. So Orengo is playing that safe game, either the president or the running mate. And number three, I think James Orengo is very angry and is very bitter. And Orengo is applying tension as a strategy to be called on the negotiating table. Because if Orengo is not in any structure of ODM party, and let's just assume ODM were going like that, and Orengo was not part of Linda Wananchi, ODM would be negotiating the way they are doing, but Orengo would be out. And Orengo is the most senior. So Orengo is saying, I cannot continue sitting here watching you guys negotiate and I'm not involved. So I want to bring myself to that negotiating table. And that's the politics is currently playing. So that if ODM cannot allow him the space, then he's creating that particular space. Today, if Linda Wananchi and the United Opposition were to agree to talk, if they were to agree to talk today, the truth is Orengo will be on that table as the leader. That's something which cannot happen to Orengo in ODM party. And number 3, Orengo. And number 4, Orengo is also a man on a mission. I want to assure you that James Orengo is clearly planning to revenge. Oburu Odinga was appointed the party leader. Oburu Odinga stopped Orengo from becoming the ODM chairperson, together with the former member of parliament, Opiyo Wandayi, who is now a cabinet secretary. Because Raila had agreed to appoint Orengo as the chairperson in place of Gladys Wanga. So it's very bitter. And that's why he's not giving, Oburu the space. He's revenging. And lastly, the ground politics. You see, and this is the reality. And sometimes I tell the broad-based government leaders that, Raila went to broad-based government. By the time he was going to broad-based government, most of his supporters were totally against that move. He died while there, but most of his supporters did not move with him. And that's why it's very easy for Sifuna and Babu to rally these people against broad-based government. So I think Orengo has also realized that the ground is a bit slippery for broad-based government, and is not taking advantage of that. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.